We getting ready to take off. I'm waiting on permission from the control tower to take off, brother. It is good to see you, man. What I'd like to do is talk a little bit about your book. Of course, is coming out in October, the best month of the year. I want to talk a little bit about podcasting and why, especially during these times, everybody should be podcasting. And then I want to talk about the importance of communication, no matter how you do it. It's about what you say now. Bottom line, we're talking about print communication. We're talking about digital communication. We're talking about the vocal and visual communication. It's important now more than ever to be able to get your information out. If you're not creating information and content at this time, I'm going to call you crazy. This is the best time in the world. What say you, the Dom of communicating out of Baltimore, Maryland? Dominique, welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
Doing fabulous.
Hey, you got to tell me about that background you rocking, bro. Come on, man. You come show out. Y'all take a look at his background. What is that? What is that?
Man, it's just me radiating positivity. I actually found it on my hard drive like a couple weeks ago when I got my new computer and switching things over. I'm like, okay, I got a Zoom background now.
Okay, so you got a real Zoom background now, huh? Well,
yeah.
I want to welcome you to the show, and I want you, because you are more than a subject matter expert. You are a kingmaker. You have all types of guests coming to your show. You are instructing people on their books, including myself. And I dub you the Dom of communication, but technically, I just truly think you are a king and queen maker of people, because when people get what's in their heart and in their head out to the masses, that's a wonderful feeling. Won't you tell people how you started? Then we'll get into your book, and then we'll get in and try to help a couple of people.
Sure thing. Definitely grateful for your words, man. Definitely grateful for your words. And yeah, because I mean, when you say king and queen maker, it's darn true, because heck, both you and I myself, we're in the helping people business. And you're coaching and helping people to become the best versions of themselves. Like you're helping them go one due north. It's like there's only one way to go, is to go north. Heck, like where else to go?
Way. Only one way.
Exactly, man. It's so true.
So when you are putting your book, let's focus on yours. Tell us first the name of your upcoming book. I think it's being released in October. It's starting to generate some buzz on LinkedIn and Amazon. And this isn't your first book, is it?
Nope, it's not my first book. This is the hat trick. This is a third book for me, and it's my first ever actual multi-author project. It's going to be called From Crappy to Happy: Sacred Stories of Transformational Joy. And in times like these where folks are feeling crappy times 100, this is probably the perfect time for folks to pick up this wonderful book, because it's not only myself, but 24 other authors sharing stories of how we had moments where we felt down and felt crappy, but we're able to, through the journey of someone else helping us to being the hero, to helping us realize, you know what, maybe it's not so crappy after all, and that we can find our happiness again. And not only that, the forward for this book is being written by the same guy who wrote the Celestine Prophecy, James Redfield. So for those who may know about that book, he's actually writing the forward for this book too. So it's going to be one heck of a project. It's going to be fabulous.
And with the coronavirus and everything, we're going to be able to stay on schedule.
Oh yeah, because this is reading. So I mean, the mailing might. I mean, you might get the book a little late depending on where it's coming from, but besides that, we're still on schedule.
Well, I am happy for that. This title though, whose title? This don't sound like you. Whose title was this? You stepping way outside your look. Okay, altar boy. Okay, see, I know your role in church. So, Crappy to Happy. Who came up with this title, man?
Yeah, I can't take the credit for this. This is actually spearheaded by two wonderful ladies. One, Ariel Patricia. She's a fabulous lady. She's actually a reverend herself, funny enough, and it's her faith minister, and a buddy of hers named Kathleen Cat Canavas. And she's actually a breast cancer survivor that actually figured out she was diagnosed with breast cancer because she actually had a dream that a Franciscan monk handed her a suture that said she had breast cancer when the doctors ran multiple tests and said she didn't have it. So her dream saved her life. So these two wonderful ladies actually are the spearheaded for this book, and I decided to join in on the fun to not only add another book under my belt, but also to take some of the weight off me and become better as a person and to tag team with other folks who are doing something positive in the world, because collaboration instead of competition is where it's at in this day and age. Like Dr. Sinclair Gray, he connected both you and I together, and we're in the same state. And
You know,
it's kind of funny how that works.
and Dr. Gray, I don't know if you're listening. I need to send him a shout out and tell him we're talking about him. He's probably doing one of his meetings today, but that's important because people have certain ideas about writing books. They got 300 pages in mind. They got a whole lot of other things that are in their mind when it's really, really a simple process. And one of those processes was what you did in collaborating with others to go in the book. So were you responsible for a chapter? Were you how did your collaboration work?
Yeah, it worked seamlessly because I basically contributed chapters to the book. Everybody contributed a chapter to the book. And of course, the two wonderful ladies spearheading it, they probably added some more stuff and some ed notes at the end of the book and a extra introduction as well. But yeah, contributing a chapter to the book and also just really helping with promoting the book, because this isn't the first time they're doing this. They actually had a prequel to this book called From Chaos to Clarity,
Okay.
Sacred Stories of Transformation. And it was successful last year. And I had 8 of their authors on my own podcast last year to help them out. And I figured, you know what? They're doing good work. And one of my goals is to be in a multi-author project to actually network and get better and to continue to spread my name out there and market what I'm doing out there. So basically, teaming up with someone else and collaborating with someone else who's doing something great, who has a great track record, will really work for both parties, because it's like, hey, just building that solid business relationship with people is a wonderful thing. And we're going to be needing them now more than ever.
Now more than ever. And one of the things you talked about is collaborating and coming together. You have your own podcast. Tell people the name of your podcast, sir.
Yes, the Going North podcast, tips and techniques to advance yourself. Going North podcast. That's right.
Notice he's going north and I'm due north. We're going to meet in the same place. And it's important that, again, back to this communication piece, he's talked about the book and he's talked about collaborating. Right now, you ought to have a couple of notes. When you look to collaborate with someone or work with someone, are you always inside the box to what you're comfortable to, or how is it opening up so you can venture out a little further in your network, or as they say in Who Moved My Cheese, a little further out into the maze? How are you able to do that, and would you recommend it?
I highly recommend it, especially now with Zoom and folks and millions of folks using it daily. And this whole darn virus thing, it's really, even though it's a bad thing right now because a lot of folks have lost their lives, lost loved ones, and the economy is tanked at a rapid rate like a meteor falling out the sky, there's still some good things happening. And one of those good things happening is being able to now being forced to move digitally. Like a lot of churches that didn't have virtual settings or virtual option, they now have it. Like my church, the Montgomery Baptist Church, we stream services live now on YouTube and Facebook every Sunday. Now, in addition to the small amount of the congregation that still comes in there just for the pastor to preach and everything. So it's really just forcing people to grow. And that's one of the good things about connecting with others. It forces you to grow. Like I've actually connected with a couple folks out in Australia where they're 12, 13 hours ahead of us. And they got this wonderful Facebook group where it's a bunch of heart-centered entrepreneurs just gathering around and seeing how they can help each other, whether it's like marketing or promoting or just even referring business to other people. And it's stuff like that, being able to connect with people on a whole other continent that's 12, 13 hours ahead of us. That is one heck of a powerful thing. It's like, I don't have to pay the money for a plane ticket because I can't even get a plane ticket right now. Ain't nobody letting us in out the country right now.
But it's important what you say, that one, you expand your network to places you haven't been in. And one of the best ways, I believe, to expand your network is to be a part of those groups. Like, Dom talked about looking through Facebook, other than for things that are entertaining, but that can help add value to your brand. And that's one of the things I want to talk about. You notice his background, it's always upbeat. His voice, always upbeat. His communication, always engaging. And so he is wearing literally his brand. What is it like walking around branded all day long, representing who you are and who you hope to become, Dom? What goes into that?
Intentionality is what goes into it, because especially a personal brand, and I have to live it every day. You got to live your brand. And heck, that's even a clothing line, funny enough, live your brand. And it's like, you got
Hold
to
on,
really.
hold on for somebody else. JT, get this over to our lawyer for somebody else get that in there. There you go.
Stupid.
Look, new brand for One Due North. What was it again? I forgot the name. Give me the name. Live your brand.
Oh no, that's the thing. Someone already grabbed it. Like that's an actual T-shirt out already, man.
Oh man! Hey, kill the lawyer. They charge by the hour. You're messing up my show, man. This is supposed to be serious. We're 45 minutes to take off. And by the way, if you're joining us today, we're going to talk a little bit about podcasting, a little bit about the print, and we're just going to have some fun. Can you tell us a little bit about what you contributed to the book? Give us a sneak peek.
Sure thing. So what I contributed to the book was how 2012 was a paradigm shift year for me and a lot of other folks. Because that year we thought that the world was going to end. The mind saying, yeah, the world's going to end. The calendar ends. It's going to be a whole new era. And all that happened was that we just lost Twinkies for a month. So that was pretty much an interesting year. But really, in addition to losing Twinkies for a month, even though I'm not a fan of them, is the fact that 21st birthday got into a car accident. And that was the same year that my father was diagnosed with Alzheimer's and he couldn't drive anymore. And almost losing a part-time job at the library at the time, where I was a seasoned employee there, being 5 years, not really showing the leadership qualities that my manager saw that I had within me. And just really having those moments and realizing, you know what, something needs to change. And that's something that everyone desires at least once in their life. At minimum is a desire for change, and finding and using that desire for change to find my own acres of diamonds in a certain area and use that acres of diamonds to really propel me into a place of self-growth. And I say self-growth because not only did I grow professionally, but also personally. And they go hand in hand together. It's like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich together. It's like they got to go together, man, because finish off with saying that personal and professional go together, because what goes on in the personal is going to come out in your professional life. And folks are going to see that whether you believe it or not.
you are once again true. Side note, peanut butter and jelly, and that's the only sandwich I do it to. I cut the edges off the bread. I'm not sure why. Probably because that's how I grew up getting it, but I always cut the edges off of it, only on peanut butter and jelly. And what you were talking about of the personal and the professional, what were some things, I know the answer, by the way, what were some things you did once you decided, I want to develop this dream and turn it into a vision, and I want to create some habits for my craft? What were some things you did to start the process? Because you didn't jump out being a writer. What were some of the things that led up to it?
Yeah, some of the things led up to it was reading, and just reading great material. And heck, even just starting off with the one small book, like As a Man Thinketh, that's a 64-page pocket-sized book that anyone should pick. Actually, everyone should pick up and read that book, because it's so darn easy to read and so darn true. Because our minds, we're walking around, not only do you have to live our personal brands and be intentional with it, but we have to be intentional with what we put in our minds, because our minds are gardens. And there's going to be weeds that pop up every now and then, depending on what you put in front of it, what you're listening to, what you're seeing, and just really being more aware of your surroundings and keeping brain care in mind. And that's why self-care and mental health are two big issues right now, constantly.
Come on.
Because we're in the era where this is attention management and not time management, because everything's trying to vie for our attention, man. Everything is vying for our attention, whether it's through the commercials for those who still watch television, or social media, or on YouTube, and you get these ads, and then they put all these recommended videos on the side of the page, and then 3 hours later you realize, wait a second, I've been on this darn YouTube for 3 freaking hours because they got the cookies and everything, tracking everything, and
Yeah.
recommending things that you like. So yeah, man.
I like that attention management. That is key to success. And one of the things you did to keep your attention on your craft was you decided to invest in yourself through Toastmasters. What was that experience like? And I know not only did you go in and try to take, you've gone in and given, and you've been rewarded for that effort. What is that like?
Man, it's one heck of a powerful experience. I wish I would have joined sooner because Toastmasters is one of those organizations still left in the world where the more you put in, the more you get back out of it. Because that was the place where I got to really grow and become better as an extroverted introvert. And because
Mm.
I can be an extrovert, I'm a great social butterfly around people, but I recharge by having some alone time. So being able to branch out and grow and have a laboratory of leadership to practice, because anybody who wants to lead, if you want to get a manager position or something at your place of business, volunteer at an organization, volunteer organization. And that's what I did. And I found out, you know what? I can do management, but I'd rather not do management. So
You know what?
basically,
I can really, I'm sorry to cut you off. I can really
yeah.
appreciate that because there are way too many people in it. One, that don't like it. Two, that haven't
Hmm.
been trained for what they're asked to do. And three, they are making people's lives miserable because they don't want to be in charge. Which, by the way, I got to tell you, that's the craziest thing in the world to me. If there's a basketball, I won't take the last shot. I'm just that way. I won't. I don't mind being in charge, but I understand there are people who don't want to really lead other people. They like their life the way it is, and if you can do that and show others still how to be leaders, because you are, as I stated at the beginning, and I don't think I'm confused, you are truly a king maker. You help people get there. And Zig Ziglar said, the more you help others get what they want, you eventually get everything you want. And have you found, I see you nodding your head. Go
Oh
ahead.
yeah. I love that quote because it's so darn true, man. And it's so darn true because that's really where we are. We're social creatures, whether we believe it or not, or whether we want to admit it or not. We're social creatures. We
Mm-hmm.
really are our best when we're around other people, especially other people that really want to better themselves and focus on being jewels instead of jealous. And
Oh,
it's really just helping folks realize, you know what? It's better to be around people that really want to see you do your best and then inspire you to create your own, because some folks may see folks that are successful be like, man, they were lucky they had a silver spoon in their mouth, not knowing what the heck they had to do to get to that point. And they may be like, man, I want that. And then when they actually try to do it on their own to try to emulate, well, not emulate, but try to copy that person, they realize, you know what, maybe that's for me, as opposed to taking the emulation route where you're just taking pieces of what they do and then
mm-hmm.
putting your spin to it so you can create your own. Because at the end of the day, we're all our own people, we're all our own person, but we still need each other. It's like you got to still better yourself and also be around folks that help you to become better. Because, like yourself, Coach Terry, I don't have the military experience, but I respect everything that you've done and everybody that's been in service. My father was in the military. I have an uncle, he's a retired colonel in the Marines in the military. A lot of family in the military who served our country well. And I respect that because it takes a high level of dedication to be able to do what you do and went through what you went through, and trying to use that as inspiration to keep going. In
It,
this
it,
case, going
it,
north.
hey, do north. It's important that what you said be heard again, because there are a lot of people who have not put it in gear yet, not because they don't have the knowledge or the experience or even the want to. They're stuck in either fear or frustrated because nobody has come along and given them a boost. Look, your situations will sometimes be all the boost you need. Your situation of getting in that car wreck, unfortunately, uh, the horrible situation you and your father found yourselves in your family, but those situations propelled you. And I just want to say now, just like this virus, you can do one of two things. You can sit back and wait on somebody to tell you it's okay to go back to a life you may not have been all that happy with to begin with, or you can take this time to start creating. It's important that you create, and it doesn't matter at what level. Just start, and other things will feed into it. Can you take some of that and run with it, Dom?
Oh yeah, funny enough, Dr. Sinclair Gray popped up on my darn phone. This is amazing.
Tell him.
He must have knew we were talking about him.
Send him. One of us need to send him the link and get him in here, because this brother has written 7, or is it 8 now? He's written 8 books. He's put out countless articles on LinkedIn, every social media platform, and the brother just bad. How important is it to be that person that connects others to people, that helps people reach their goals? And as I was sharing with Dominique, and we both found out we agree, from the author and the gentleman Zig Ziglar, the more people you help achieve what it is they want, the quicker you get to your success. How important is it in your view to connect people to other people to reach those goals?
Well, I think it's very important. As you know, I think one of the things that people have to do, not only in business but also as human beings, is to have this selfless mentality that is not all about me. It's not all about what I can get in return, but it's about helping your fellow friends, your brothers and sisters, because their success will eventually lead to your success. But I also think a lot of times what people equate that to is equates to money. I've been fortunate, and I'm still trying to connect people. And once I make the connection, I let it be from there. I don't try to influence anything from that point on, because I'm only trying to connect people of like minds that can do some of the same things together. And when I mean some of the same things together, not so much the same business, but the same type of mindset of producing excellence and top great quality. Well, that's my goal.
I want to thank you for connecting me to the Dom of Baltimore.
No problem.
It was, and you've been a guest on the show, and Dominique is back for the second time. We're getting ready to go into podcasting, but I'm gonna throw you a little love up here, Dr. Gray. I know you can't see us, but I'm gonna go ahead and throw it in there. I'm holding up the ABCs of Making Business Networking Work for You by the great Dr. Sinclair Gray the Third, who connected me and Dominique, and it has been a brotherhood of love ever since. And when this is over, Dominique owes you a steak dinner.
Get people in trouble again.
We'll do this. I don't need a steak dinner because, I was trying to call Dominique because I want Dominique to come on my show on Monday.
Wait a minute. I didn't get it. Dominique, you got an invite to the show. I know you can't make it because you ain't feeling it.
I'm on my
Zoom. He ain't going to make it. He got a cavity he trying to get taken care of, Dr. Gray.
Okay. No problem.
Oh, my gosh.
Call me and let me know what's a good Monday. I only need him for 20 minutes.
No, he good. He good to go.
I'm going to be there Monday.
He said you're going to be there. I'll be there listening. I'm going to sneak in. All right, take care, Dr. Gray.
Right, Mondays are good days.
Wow, man, you are such in demand. And this is one of the things you talked about earlier. Being around people who push you to better. Being around people who encourage you to go after more. What made you, because now we're going to switch gears here, what made you do the podcasting thing? What made you, I know what made me, what made you get into podcasting?
Yeah, so what made me get into podcasting was really to make meaning. And a book I recommend folks to pick up in addition to As a Man Thinketh is The Art of the Start by Guy Kawasaki. The Art of the Start. And the main point, at least one of the first points he makes in the book, is that those who really have these powerful businesses like Apple and Steve Jobs created it, is that they wanted to make meaning. He wanted to put it into the universe, make a great computer. And my podcast, I wanted to make meaning because my first ever time I posted my book, I got in a radio show, guy kept cutting me off and I didn't get no words in at all, really. And then I got in a podcast interview and the woman who was interviewing me, she was gracious and kind and everything. And she wanted me to share more. And I'm like, okay, well, let me make sure, I want to do my own and make sure that experience doesn't happen for someone else. And it's really become bigger than I ever thought it was because Originally, I thought it was just going to be maybe a few folks in Baltimore and all that good stuff, because I knew about a good 30 folks at the time that had published books, and I wanted to make it about books because folks need to read more than ever before, especially in the chocolate caramel community / melanin community. And folks are writing these books and they need a platform. So I'm like, you know what? Let me go ahead and do this and just have them get their voices out there and help them build their highlight reel. So that way, that heck, it may be 3 days or 3 years down the line, someone hears their voice and be like, oh, okay. They may contact them later and be like, hey, I heard you on this podcast. You sounded great and really helping you go. And 32 episodes in, like a 6 months, I got contacted by all these PR companies to promote their authors that signed up to get on radio stations and podcasts. And I'm like, dude, I'm just some random black guy from Baltimore. How the heck did you guys find me? And it's all because the internet is a big, small world, because it's big because there's so much content, and it's small because especially if you put yourself in a niche with the perfect hashtags, like my podcast mission is simple, it's clear. And that kind of goes to communication, to be honest. You got to be clear and concise. Every Monday and Thursday, a different author comes on to share some inspiration, motivation, or something else to help you charge forward in life from a different author and help you realize that success is tangible. And I stay consistent with it. If you stay consistent with the podcast, you'll definitely grow. I'm not saying you'll get a bunch of money, because I don't make a bunch of money off my podcast. Like, you can, but you don't make it like your full time thing, like Joe Rogan. Like, the guy made $100 million off his podcast, but what folks don't remember is the fact that he was a UFC commentator for years. He was doing stand-up comedy for years. His show, he's probably been doing his podcast for like 10 plus years. Because
you don't do that.
I think it's like
right out of the gate.
Exactly. Like, he had to work for that. Like, the podcast is just a hobby of his, and it grew. Like, that's the thing. You have to realize it takes growth, it takes commitment, and you really have to come from a place of service and to really make meaning. Because if you focus on your purpose, the profit will come.
Well, let's do this. One of the things I want to do is help people get into it. Since I started doing podcasts, and first of all, make the mistakes. You don't learn to cook without burning some stuff. You don't learn to cook without missing some ingredients sometimes. That's how you learn. Yep. I learned how effective I could be, not just at podcasting, but just like you. You host people on your show who have written books. On my show, we are intimidated by bringing no one on. I've had the great Dr. Willie Jolly. Now imagine I'm trying to host my leadership career, my speaking abilities, my show, and I bring on the #1 speaker in the world. What do you think that does to anybody who gets that done? Tell them what happens when you get other high-level guests on your podcast show. What does that do for you?
It's personal growth. It gives you confidence, for one. It's like, oh, man, they actually said yes to me. It's like, yeah, all right, good. They said yes to me, my show, my audience, and that's good. And then when you talk with them, you realize they're no different from myself either. They're human just like me, and they just made decisions, and they were in the right place at the right time. Like, that's really the main difference, really.
And one of the things I enjoyed about Dr. Jolly, bringing him on the show, like you said, gave me courage to go after, Lee Rubin, the great speaker. It gave me courage to do these things. And one of the things that I had in my mind as a block, and if you're taking notes, I want you to write this down. It's real important. You don't have to be the subject matter expert when you're bringing them on the show. Dominique is a subject matter expert at doing podcasting. Don, we're just going to run down a real quick list. What's the top 4 things that anybody new needs to know about podcasting, you would say? I mean, they're thinking about doing it. What are 4 things they need to know?
Sure thing. So the first one is to have fun. That's the first thing, to have fun, because if you're not having fun, then folks tuning in are going to find out. They can see through my BS detectors at an all-time high nowadays. Like, the antennas go up to the moon and probably go to Mars nowadays for BS. So have fun with it. And also, and start before you're ready. Start before you're ready. Yeah. Because my first 80 episodes, I did them on my smartphone. Like, I basically had a good headset, plugged them into my my Samsung Galaxy and did a free conference call.com recording, then edited the audio later. So you're not going to have all the equipment in the world. I didn't have this mic a couple years ago when I started. I didn't have the great setup I had years ago. Heck, probably the first 200 of my interviews, you couldn't even see my face. Like, I finally got this new computer a few weeks ago where the webcam's not busted. So start before you're ready.
Tell the truth.
Yeah.
Stop making excuses. All you need is a camera on an old iPhone 5 or I don't care. Just get a microphone. Look, I'm talking today with Dominique. Dominique, how you doing? It's important that you have fun. Venture out. Let people know I'm not a broadcast journalist. I don't know if you are. I'm not. I'm a guy who decided I was going to leave a mark in the world, and this is the best way to do it. That's number one. What else you got, Dom? Fun was one.
Yep, fun was one. Start before you're ready. That's number two.
Wow. Can you explain that a little bit more? I want you to do it so they can hear it from your words.
Sure thing. So with the podcast itself, I had to deal with my own darn little demons known as the lack of confidence and way, because when you change, we all hate change subconsciously at first, but when you get some momentum under your feet, then that's when the magic happens. Because when I told one of my buddies who's a LinkedIn expert, my man Mike Sheila, he connected me with Dr. Sinclair Gray and 30 other people to give me a head start. And it's really put a feet to the fire, so that really helped me to get my feet going. So basically fighting off those demons of a lack of confidence and realizing, you know what, I said I was going to do this thing. And that's another thing, too. That could be number 4 or number 3, however many we're counting. Is to enlist others and tell other people that you're going to do this thing. Because funny enough, my podcast back in 2017, it was supposed to be launching after this campaign I did called the 50 Days of Inspiration, where it's a new different quote every day. And then on day 50, the podcast is going to launch. But on day 47, I forgot to make the 47th quote, and I didn't know what the heck an RSS feed was. So there was no podcast, but I had a bunch of audio stuff in the background. And I launched a week later because I already had the interviews already, and I told them it was going to be out by a certain date. So I had to hold myself accountable because I basically took the time from other people and had to realize, you know what, done is better than perfect. And I just basically had to launch right there.
You can, and I'll tell you, because I've made these mistakes, you can apologize to people for misspelling their name. You can apologize if you mispronounce their name. It's hard when you've taken, 20 minutes, an hour from someone and never show their stuff because you are hung up on little details. And I've been very guilty of that. I had one of the most powerful interviews with a person where, I had to grovel because I just messed it all up. They, on the other hand, didn't tell me I was the first time they had ever done an interview, and they were so excited about being interviewed, they ran right through all the mess ups. You never know where people are, but you've got to start podcasting. And that's going to lead me to something, because we can't show you how to do everything here. I don't know who you run your podcast through. I go through Anchor. I'm on all of the Spotify's and YouTube and whatever other podcast channels there are. I'm out there. Who are you going through, Don?
Yeah, just about everybody, because Anchor, Apple, YouTube, It's all in there. I'm like on 20 to 30 different platforms. So you're going to find the Going North podcast somewhere. You're going to find it somewhere.
I see it. I see it on Instagram. I think I've seen it on Twitter. By the way, I'm not on Twitter. Don't send me nothing there, please. It just moves too damn fast for me, so I don't mess with Twitter. But it's important. One of the things that Dominique said, I don't want to skip by. If you're being coached by me, I know you heard it too. Accountability. It is important, if you're going to get into podcasting, book writing, digital print, that you have an accountability team. They're not going to do the job for you. They don't work for you. They're there to hold you to what you said you were going to do. It's important to have a good accountability team who will call and say, hey, Rick, come on, man. We've been waiting years for this book. You've even wasted some people's time that's been on the show. When are you releasing the book? And they hold you to that. Or they'll say, hey man, that show you did was really great. You said you were going to do one like that, and you did it. It was really great. So I am in love with you, brother, when you say accountability to yourself and to others. You still got to get your work out there. So that was number 3, and I'm keeping good count because I'm stealing from you. So give me one more thing to steal. Oh, I'm looking at the facts. All these.
At least you're honest about it.
I'm an honest thief. Oh man, they gonna tune us out. You know that, right? They gonna miss all of this stuff because we acting silly. But give me number 4, brother, if you got one more in you.
Sure, number four. So accountability start when you're ready. Heck, and always promote yourself. Always promote yourself. Like yep. Always self-promote no matter what. There's an art to it. There's a good way to do it and a bad way to do it, but do it nonetheless and learn from your mistakes.
Guys, he just said it. You got to promote yourself. One of the people who helped train me and a member of my accountability team, Miss Camille Moore. Camille, I love you. Thank you for all that you did for me and my family. One of the lessons she shared with me as she was prepping me to start putting my voice out there was promote the hell out of yourself. Nobody else is going to do that for you. So you, and Dominique just told you, he had no idea that conversation we had. And this woman is doing amazing things in her field of what she does. And I mean amazing. The ears she has listening to her. And she said to me what you just said, promote. You got an event, promote it. You got an item, promote it. You got something you do well, promote it. Somebody who needs it will hear it. You never know. But one of the things I do, Dom, I do a class, sometimes a master class, if you want to call it that, with people who say, I want to know more about podcasting. I want to know about taking this book and getting it outside of my head and putting it on print. Would you be willing to come back on Zoom and do a private class? Not one of these, but a private class where we get into weeds and people can come out immediately. I'd like to take somebody that's a part of it from the beginning of their podcasting all the way up to going on the air live with us at the time they are getting the training. Would you be interested in coming back and helping me do a podcast class? Let's bring some people into it. And I want to make it, and yes, there is an investment. You don't write the books you write, buy the equipment you write, and share the knowledge you share without trying to make sure you can feed yourself and your families. We're going to make it affordable. So if you're interested in starting a podcast or want to get deeper into writing your first piece of material, whether it be digital or print, I'm going to put something out in the coming weeks. Get on Dom's schedule, and we're going to show you how to take it to the next level. Okay? Now, Dominique, tell them where they can get your books at. Give them all your social media information, if you don't mind. I promised you we went to 12:45. We're going to open it up for a few minutes. I went 2 minutes over. We're going to open it up for a few minutes. I got people on Facebook right now that may have some questions. So won't you tell us first where we can get your material at, the name of it, and how they can listen to you on your podcast as well?
Yep. Everything's really all in one place, dombrightmon.com, dombrightmon.com. It links to all my social medias. IG is Dom Brightmon, LinkedIn, Dom Brightmon, Twitter, Dom Brightmon. Everything is Dom Brightmon because branding's got to be easy. Got to make it easier for folks. So dombrightmon.com. My books are there. The podcast is there. You can listen to it. Everything is there. I'll pick up the books, listen to the podcasts, and leave a review. Let me know if you enjoy what you heard, and definitely keep a brother updated so that way you can keep going and keep bringing wonderful folks on to not only promote themselves, but also to share some good stuff with you because we all are better together.
And Dom, I want to tell you, I got a young and out front leader down in Greenville, South Carolina, who wrote a powerful book
Nice.
that I'd love to connect you with. I think she would just be an excellent guest. Her spirit is it's on fire. I think it's like fire shut up in her bones. I was able to help her take her book to the next level, myself and some others. And I thank God that she came to us and asked us at One Due North to help out. But I want to introduce you. I think she would be a great guest for your show if you would have her. I'll speak to her. Her book is doing wonders for women and families. And I think she would be a great hometown girl to be on your show, man, if you will have her. She's one of my young and out front leaders, and it would be a privilege. All right, guys, if you got any questions over on Facebook, this is a great time. I'm going to ask one real quick. Again, the new book coming out is From Creepy to Happy. From Crappy, I'm sorry. Look, you put crappy in there. What you thought I was going to say? That's creepy. Okay, I'm just telling you, we're talking about crappy. That's creepy. But anyway, the new book is called Crappy. Stop making me laugh. I'm trying to do this thing right. You see how hard it is to work with these professional people. And by the way, you can link up with my brother on LinkedIn. He is one of the friendliest people on LinkedIn. And there's a host of them over there that do a great job. They brought me into the fold. And they've accepted who I am, and I love them. And as you can see, they're just down-to-earth people. So one of the questions that I did want to ask you was about elite performance. What is your definition of elite performance? I'm waiting to see if we get any questions. If not, we're going to go ahead and stop it after this. But what is your definition of elite performance?
Yes, elite performance. I define elite performance as always delivering the highest value to whatever company you are a part of, especially if it's your own company. Because at the end of the day, even though someone's name may be on the paychecks or the direct deposit slips that we get paid every week or every 2 weeks, you still sign the paychecks because you decided to still go to work that day. You decided to actually still remain with that company. So you are the main company. And that's kind of like the whole self-leadership thing I'm all about nowadays. It's elite performance is always delivering top genuine value to whatever company you are a part of, especially if it's your own.
Wow. Well, I just want to say it's not a, what do they call it, exclusive club. You just have to become excellent in your efforts. You don't have to become the smartest person in the room you don't have to be the most knowledgeable person. You just have to be really excellent in your efforts. Those are efforts to learn. I learned a lot of what I know about doing podcasts and doing videos, and I learned a lot of it on YouTube, but I had to search deep for it. I called people, and when people saw me being what you said earlier in the show, when they saw me being committed to what I was doing and having fun, they were more apt, like yourself, to step out and say, hey, Coach Terry, I talked to Dr. Gray, or Dr. Gray said, hey, I talked to a guy I know named Dominique. I believe he can help you get to the next level. And in that process, he did. But during that process, I made sure I didn't leave anybody behind. So again, I want to thank you. You never leave us behind. You always encourage us. I've never seen you have a virtual bad day. I'm sure there have been some trying days. Congratulations on the new book, Crappy to Happy. You know, it sounds a little creepy, but we'll get past it. No, I'm messing with you.
I'm using that one in the future.
Yeah, they don't. I will not be talking to anybody else from the book. I already know that. But please tell the other authors we said thank you for continuing to contribute to our healthy minds. Guys, I leave you with this. 45 minutes to take off. Make sure that you are doing something that is creative, that makes you feel good about yourself, and is a contribution to our America, our world. My name is Coach Rick Terry. My co-pilot today has been none other than Dominique Brightmon. And Dominique, make sure you keep doing what you're doing because we need you, brother. God bless you, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Woohoo! Woohoo! Until I see you again, remember, I am your coach.